Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Motion.io live stream. If you're just tuning in for the first time, my name is Sam Chlebowski, one of the co-founders here at Motion.io. We host these live streams every single week at the same time, 10:30 Mountain Time out here in Colorado, where me and most of the rest of our team is located. So yeah, like clockwork, tune in every week. This week, have some really fun stuff to share. And I'm going to give folks a couple minutes to hop on before we really get into the meat of things. But for just a very quick teaser, yesterday we released a feature that we've been working on now for, I think, about 3 weeks. Something we kind of stumbled upon. And that is our AI client feature. Basically, what happened, to just give you the quick backstory, and then we'll look at the changelog and the other things that we've released this week. But we were exploring this as a way to just like see different areas of like where we might be able to improve our own tool, basically running an AI agent through Motion.io. And then a light bulb kind of went off for our development team here, which consists of my CTO, Zach, as well as my colleague, Josh. And they're like, oh, this could actually be incredibly useful for our Motion.io users if they could add a client to a project and have them run through that workflow that they've set up without actually having to wait for a real client. And what we were actually talking about just a little bit before I hopped on the stream here is that so often the problem with testing new workflows and new processes is that you have kind of two choices. You either have to wait for a real client to start working with you to run through that process, which might take days, weeks, even months, or you have to have one of your team members run through those workflows. So we came up with this really cool idea of allowing you to do that whole process, condense it down into just minutes of stress testing the various areas of your processes, from onboarding to delivery to offboarding, and allow you to do so in just a matter of minutes. So that's kind of the quick background of what I'll be covering, kind of the bulk of what I'm going to cover today. We will talk about other new things that we've released. And of course, as always, please ask your questions, anything you want to know about Motion.io. I will cover and I will respond to every question live over the course of this webinar. But I do want to spend a little bit of time, at least at the beginning here, talking about our new AI client feature. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is let's just take a look at the changelog and the things that we've released over this past week, in addition to that AI client feature that I was just mentioning. So let's go ahead. I am going to, share my screen here. And bring up the Motion.io changelog. So if you're not familiar with this page, every single week that we ship an update, this gets updated with all of the things that we've released over the course of this past week. So you can see right at the top here, and the kind of the biggest thing we'll be covering today is this new AI client functionality, which allows you to add simulated clients to your projects that can complete tasks, leave comments, and generate insights that will help you identify opportunities to improve and refine your workflows and templates in Motion.io. Also, if anybody wants a link to this does link off to our help article and all of the relevant help articles about those features. So, for example, with the AI client functionality, click there if you want kind of a full step-by-step guide on how to use it and how to add AI clients to projects. But I will be showing you that in just a little bit either way. So next down the list on our changelog for this week, we've added portal notifications for new messages. So you may be already aware that in Motion.io, in your message center, you receive a red badge that says, X number of new messages that have been sent through your various projects and portals. We had a lot of requests from our users saying, hey, it would be really nice if clients had those same notifications, because I feel like clients are a little bit in the dark of when a new message was sent. Even though they get an email, it would be really nice for them to just log in and have some sort of notification to know that there's something that our team sent them they have to respond to. So we've done just that, and clients will now see visual notification badges in their portal that will indicate new messages. The final thing to cover in our newest features is we have made major improvements to the mobile version, especially on the admin side. What we had realized is we are having so many of our users and the businesses that eventually sign up, maybe become a customer with us. So many of them were signing up for the app initially on mobile. And when we recognized that, we thought it was a really great time to sort of revisit the entire way the mobile experience works in Motion.io. So definitely encourage you to check that out. I was using it a ton this week, and I was, mentioning in our meeting, like it feels like a whole new app. Like I can really use Motion.io as an admin on mobile fast and efficiently if I'm not able to get to a desktop. So go ahead and check that out. It's really cool stuff that we've done. Things operate just so much more smoothly now. Finally, wanted to talk about some bug fixes. I will just briefly run through these, but these were issues that some of them we stumbled upon. Some of them were things that might not necessarily have been bugs, but are fixes or just smaller pieces of additional functionality that we released. So a couple of the bigger ones here. We've added support for Atlantic, Alaska, and Australian Western time zones. Previously, these time zones weren't in the app, meaning you couldn't set them from your account settings page to change when notifications were sent within your portal. So we've added those. We've also made a really nice improvement to Motion.io's create project Zapier action. So what we've done here is we've adjusted the field formatting there. So if you create a project and then have to find it later, the custom field data that you're pulling in is now going to be a lot easier to map to subsequent steps in a Zapier workflow. There's also a couple of other things here. I won't get into detail on every one of them, but you can go to the link that I shared if you'd like to check that out. So with that, let's talk about really the big and shining feature in this release, which is Motion.io's AI clients. I covered a little bit ago, but basically what these are simulated clients that you can add to Motion.io projects and have them run through the entire workflow. And it all happens in minutes instead of, hours, days, even months. I will now go in and share my screen, and let's show you how to use AI clients, the things that you can do with them from beginning to end. So hopping into my account here, I am going to first start off by going into my templates. So the way that I typically recommend you utilize the AI client functionality is for your templates to test them, review your workflows, see how things are operating. As a side note, if you don't have a template set up in Motion.io already, but want to, maybe you're a new user and you want to see generally like how does Motion.io work? How can clients engage with the things that I assign them to do? How can they complete the various types of tasks like forms, signatures, contracts, etc. We do have a really quick option to help you get started super quickly in a way that's unique to your own workflow. And what you could even do is if you didn't have a template, you could create a new project and then use our AI task builder here to have it build out the initial stages and tasks. And then you'll be able to follow along with this process for adding an AI client to it. So definitely leverage this AI task builder if you don't have a template yet. In my case, though, I do. So let me go back to my templates library. And the template we're going to be testing here today is this digital advertising template that I've set up. Within this template, you'll see I have a couple of different stages. A onboarding stage, campaign setup, campaign launch, reporting, and campaign optimization. So this template includes a variety of team tasks and client tasks. And what we're going to be doing is creating a new project from this and assigning an AI client to all of these different client-facing tasks to see how the workflow operates, look for areas where we can improve it. And 1 second here. I am going to go back and click Create Project. And we'll just call this Testing Digital Advertising. Just to make it clear to myself that this is a test and we're going to run an AI client through it. As you can see here, and this is something we just added for some increased clarity of, hey, are there tasks shown in your portal or not? We have a banner here that says, nope, no tasks are shown. And that's because we haven't added a client yet. So let's go into the users tab here. And what I will do is I'm going to click add user to project, just like I would do if I wanted to add a client or a team member. But what you'll see is that there is a new option that is the third down titled simulated client. And we explain it even in app just right here. Simulated clients are AI agents that help test your workflow. When you are adding an AI client to a project for testing, you can add it as is by just clicking continue. But what I strongly recommend you do is click this link that says design your simulated client profile here. Because what this allows you to do is get a little bit more specific about the types of clients that you're working with. So for example, let's say, and I added this example previously, that I work with a lot of pet care businesses. And this is actually in a previous role that I had. I was working with one of the companies I was working with. They were a marketing and website design agency. And this is exactly what they did. So I kind of borrowed this example from some previous work history, but they worked with a lot of like pet boarding and pet grooming businesses. So what I said, and the client that I want to create, I've typed in here, you own a pet grooming business and are purchasing our services to help market your business to local residents via Google and Meta ads. And that should be enough for this, just to help the AI develop a simulated client that's going to be really similar to the type of person that I work with. And then I also have this slider down here at the bottom that I can toggle from not savvy, somewhere in between, to very savvy. And this is going to change how the AI responds and the types of questions that it will ask. A very savvy simulated client might not ask nearly as many questions. They'll be able to complete things a little bit quicker, where the not tech savvy simulated client is going to ask a bunch of questions. It's going to get stuck and stumble over certain tasks at times, and we'll be able to engage and respond with that simulated client in the comments of each task. And in this case, I think that this is pretty accurate based on that experience that I shared earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save Changes. And as I mentioned too, as I'm running through this, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer anything as we go through sort of the setup process for AI clients here. So be sure to chime in. So I added my simulated client. We're good to go. I've configured it to be reflective of the types of clients that I work with. And I'm now going to click Assign Client. This is another new thing that we have added in the past couple of weeks. If you didn't notice, basically the first client you add to a project, whether that's a real life client or whether it's one of these AI simulated clients, you'll have the option to assign them to all tasks. This is going to exclude any team tasks. It's just going to assign them to the client tasks. I want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click Assign. And then let's head back to our tasks page. And you see here, we generate a name for you and clearly display whether it's an AI client or not, with a little robot icon, as well as AI in brackets there. So this AI is Brock Hedinger, MD. Okay. Back on the tasks page, great. I can see my AI client has been assigned. And I believe we are ready to go and start completing this workflow. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click all of the tasks in this onboarding stage, and I'm going to send them off to the AI client. And let's show you how this works. One note before I do that, though, is that if you've set up automations in your project or template, they are going to operate as normal. So they will still work and it'll be exactly like a real client was completing these tasks. So I'll click send. And let's just give this a second to run here. And what you'll see is that for this complete onboarding task, my AI client has already started to respond. And in here, Brock Hedinger says, I'm a little bit unsure about what some of the fields mean. Could you clarify if I need to input specific marketing goals or overall visions for my business when you asked, what would you like to achieve with our work together? And then they asked another question that the title of this task wasn't very descriptive. And they were asking to make it like a little bit more descriptive next time they went to complete it. And then what you'll also notice is at the bottom of their comments, it'll say how long the task would take them if they were a real human client. And this task would have taken them about 25 minutes. What's really cool is that in addition to actually filling out your forms, if you have like files that you've requested them to upload, they'll do stuff like that as well. And you can see my AI client uploaded a image right here under the upload your logo field. And Tamara asks, how does the description help with the workflow execution? Yeah, that was kind of a silly little thing it did put in there. It is, we're still working actively, like training the model. But I do think that the response that they gave wasn't clear. I do actually get what they're asking here. Basically, they were wanting to know this, and especially because I set the slider to not savvy, the AI client was wanting to know, like, hey, what does this mean? Like, what are you asking for? And I do think that that's helpful insights because the name of a task, the name of a form that you're sending can help clients understand like whether it or not it's a priority or not. I think that sometimes if you don't name things with a specific goal in mind, and this isn't all the time, I would say most clients that wouldn't be a question for, but again, this was a not tech savvy, the lowest end of the not tech savvy spectrum client. And maybe it could be helpful to name this something like business information form or important information we begin work, something like that. Just because I think if things are named in a more general sense of like intake or onboarding form, people think of like those forms that they have to fill out. It takes 45 minutes at a doctor's office. And I think that that's kind of what the AI was getting at here. So let's jump back in here. And the AI client has been at work. They haven't completed this one yet. I think that they're waiting for a response from me. So let me go ahead and respond to this comment. And I will tag them in the comment and say, please tell us for this field if you are looking for new leads, better leads, general marketing awareness. Cool. So let me go ahead and respond back. And what you'll see is that after a couple minutes, this is going to populate and the AI will respond back. Look, they're typing back to me right now. So the client asked another question. Could you explain how selecting whether I'm interested in SEO will impact the service selected? So I will go ahead and say, if you're interested in our SEO services, we'll follow up with more information. And then I'll say again, yes, this includes okay. So cool. And what you can see is that now that I went ahead and answered the AI's question, they actually went and completed this form. So that's all done. So let's take another look and we'll kind of just go through this workflow. And they left me a couple of other comments. And actually, the AI caught an error here because I did not attach that correctly. What you will see here on this other upload brand assets task is just like how the AI client was able to upload a logo in that form they completed. They also uploaded, they're just kind of example photos here, but things for the brand assets that I requested. And just as before, they have responded with some questions, and you'll see like with the not savvy slider all the way back, they do ask quite a bit of questions. But so I won't answer every one of these, but I'll just go and mark this completed for them on their behalf. And this is something that you can always do if you just want to kind of like run through the workflow and see, what's going on in those tasks, but you want to have the AI client continue to complete things for you. And you'll see again here, the AI asked another question. I see that we're scheduling a call, but could you clarify what specific topics or preparations I should focus for this? And what you'll see, and this is a really great example of it with the AI. So it not only tells you how long that the task is going to take them, but it's going to give you ideas for what kind of questions might come up associated with your various tasks, which is really useful information for adding additional details, for clarifying things in the title of a task a little bit more. And you can then use these insights to create additional optimizations and automations within your project workflows. And Tamara asks, do the AI clients sign contracts? So with contracts on AI tasks, we kind of fake it a little bit where the AI client is going to basically complete that client or that contract without really sending it to it. And that's because we have contract limits in Motion.io, and we want you to be able to use this feature and this functionality without basically a AI client completing one of your contracts counting towards your limits. So hopefully that answers your question there. Next up, and we'll see that the client has completed all of the tasks in my onboarding stage here. And you'll see that the next task that is active is this design campaign creative task, which is a team task. So one thing to note about how the AI client is going to move through your workflows is all of the tasks that you assign them, they're going to complete them based on the task that is due the soonest. Or if you don't assign due dates to your tasks, it'll just sort of go down the list until there's no more active tasks for them to complete. So in this case, because this is a team task, I'm going to be the one who actually has to complete this if I want the AI client to continue down the rest of this workflow. So I have to click complete here. And then what will happen is I have set up an automation here, which will activate this next task for me. So let's go ahead and for this case, I'm just going to actually assign the client to all of these tasks now. Now that I kind of showed you what the onboarding stage looked like. But I will go ahead, deselect my team tasks here, select the AI client, and let's have them run through these tasks as well. So I'll send them off. But what I was saying here is I do have a previous automation I set up. I wanted to go ahead and just send all of the rest of my tasks off. But I do have automations that will trigger. So like when this was completed, the next task down, the feedback on the website wireframe automatically activated. Let me go ahead and send these last tasks here really quick. And let's see what the AI client has done here. One of the cool things about this, I think, is really sweet in Motion.io is that the AI client is going to be able to complete literally any type of task that you throw at them. And that's including feedback. So you'll see that I sent 3 images to them for feedback and approval. They have requested changes and rejected every single one. But then I can also click into their various comments here. So the AI client has shared things like, the graphics look good here, but I'm unsure the color scheme matches our intended branding. A question about, is the placeholder text final or will it be replaced? And then at the very bottom of this first image, it tells me once again how long this task would have taken if they were a human. And that process kind of repeats for the next 2 images. Just for the sake of not having to respond to every single comment the AI has put in here, I'm just going to say, hey, we'll make these changes. And I'm going to mark that completed. Moving down in the list here, I'm going to skip past this task. I'm not going to bother completing it now for you. But this was just an internal team task to implement the feedback that they sent. And then we have an additional task for them to approve that campaign creative. So that really does it for like the bulk of the way that these AI clients work. And I see Tamara has another good question. If I have an automation that assigns a task and gives it a due date of 3 days, will the AI client wait until then to complete the task or do it right away? Really, really good question, Tamara. So what would happen there is the client's going to complete that task immediately. With the way that Motion.io AI clients work is they're going to complete all tasks that you assign them right away as soon as they are activated. So the second that that automation was triggered, the AI client is going to go in and complete that task, unless, of course, there is another task that's due before that. So, for example, if you had a task that was due 2 days instead of 3, the AI client will complete the one that was due the soonest first. But that's a really great thing about the way that this works is you can test your automations in real time, and you don't have to wait for a number of days for a client or maybe like a team member that's doing some internal testing to go in and complete those tasks. Nope, the AI client will just do it right away. So you can really stress test your workflows in 10 or 15 minutes. I see that we have another question too in the audience from a viewer watching on YouTube. Cheers, it looks like, is the handle. I didn't realize there were contract limits. Could you tell me what the limits are? So we have all of that information up on our the pricing page of our website, which I will go ahead and link to. It's on a per plan basis, and then you are able to you're able to purchase as many additional contracts as you'd like past that limit, so we don't block you. And they're really, really affordable as well. I'll go ahead and link Motion.io's pricing page. So let me just respond here. As well, that in your Motion.io account, you can get a sense for your current usage under the billing tab. It'll say basically how many contracts you've sent. My account, this is like an admin testing account, so it says unlimited for everything. But you can see here that there will be a call out for the number of contracts you sent and what your plan's specific limit is. So hopefully that's helpful there. So with that, wanted to sort of open up the floor for questions. And before I do, want to just know, hey, anybody watching this, what do you think about this new AI client feature? Is it something that you see as being useful for your workflows? Are there other questions that you have about it? For me, and really the reason that I'm so excited about this is it's going to make it so much easier for both new and existing clients to launch new workflows and new processes. So for example, even if you've been using Motion.io for a year now, let's say that you are launching a new service and you want to figure out what types of things that you're going to need, what types of tasks are going to allow you to move clients from onboarding and collecting those forms, signatures, et cetera, that you need to getting to work on that project. And how long are the tasks taking them? Are there things that you need to maybe break up into smaller bites and different stages to help a client go through that faster? Are there forms that are overwhelming and taking clients really long to complete? This tool is really going to help you identify those bottlenecks and potential roadblocks so you can eliminate them ahead of time, as opposed to making your client your sort of real-time guinea pig for your workflows. Because that's the way that, quite honestly, I've always had to do it. In any of the businesses that I have been a part of, whenever we're launching a new workflow, it's like, okay, let's review this. And then let's launch it and see what happens as people move through it. We didn't have the ability because AI was really non-existent or in its infancy until a couple of years ago. Never had this ability to like real-time test a new process. And I think that this brings a ton of value to the Motion.io platform. So we're really excited. I'll share a link to our knowledge base article that tells you how to use this new functionality in detail in case you're tuning in late or you just want to skip ahead. I'll paste this in the chat right now. So great. With that, want to talk about a couple of other things that we have recently released that I think could be really helpful for anybody who is watching this, especially if you are newer to Motion.io. We talked a little bit about automations in this live stream thus far, and I want to go back and show you automations and show you different ways that you can set them up, which you can then test with your AI clients. So I'm going to pop back here into my Motion.io account. And as a reminder, I know I say it all the time, but please let me know what other questions you have. We'll be responding to everything here live. So within your project templates, you can set up automations that are going to apply to every single project you create from that template. When automations run, the automations tab of any project you create will have a log of what those automations do and when they were last run. But sometimes there's things that you might want to test out ahead of time, which you can now use the AI client for. So this digital advertising template that I was using earlier was pretty, didn't really have many automations. I wanted to be able to run through sort of the process manually with you. But what I could do here is let me just set up some automations that I think are really typical for a standard project template. And we actually provide examples of suggested automations here if you click this hide or show suggestions toggle. And one of them I will start with here is to activate a task when the project is created. So the way that this works is I will use the project created trigger, meaning anytime a new project is created from this template, the automation will fire and then activate either the task or do whatever action that I want to happen here. In this case, I'm actually going to change this from a activate task action to an activate stage action. And what activate stage actions will do is they will automatically send each task within that stage. And this is a great example of something you might want to test out ahead of time, because some of the customers I work with, when they are first setting up Motion.io, they might start by using a activate stage action automation, and that activates 4 or 5 different onboarding tasks, when what they really realize after they have a client go through it or after they test it themselves, they just want to activate the very first task, oftentimes a contract task or a onboarding form task. And those are the types of things now that you'll be able to see. So this automation, I'll just add it for now. And then we can go ahead and show you like how a client runs through it and why this tool is so useful, particularly when setting up automations. So I'll quickly add a couple of other automations. I'm going to do another one that is onboarding completed, activate team task. So what I'm going to do is if the stage digital advertising, if the stage onboarding is completed, we'll go ahead and activate the task design campaign creative. And another great example of something you might want to play around with a little bit, have the AI client run through, because in this case, I know that this task to design the campaign creative is a team task. So I don't want to activate all of the tasks in that stage at once. This one needs to be completed first because we have to design the campaign creative before we can send it to the client. And I'll just give this, I'll just quickly rename this to help myself understand what's going on there. And then looking back at my project template, I have an automation set up, which is going to activate all of these tasks. And then when these are completed, it'll activate this campaign creative design team task. Now, once that is done, we want to be able to automatically send it to feedback to the client. So we'll set up one more automation just quickly to show you how this works. Campaign creative completed is what I'll call this, and then activate feedback task. In a similar fashion as before, I'll choose my trigger. This time it'll be a task trigger, where if this team task is completed, we will activate the client task for them to review it. And we'll set that to 3 days after we send it to them. So now that we've added these various automations, what's really useful is we can go ahead and run through it. And Tamara has a great question that I'm actually going to pause before I show you the sort of real life example of how these automations work. Tamara's question is about, and I'll just pop it on screen here. What does archiving tasks do, and why might we want to use it? That's a great question. So what archiving tasks do, and you'll notice that that is an action here under both tasks and stages, where you have the option to archive them. To show you how this works, I'm going to quickly just pivot back to my active project I set up earlier and show you a way that you might want to use this. So if you archive a stage, what is going to happen is it's going to completely hide it from the client's portal. And the reason why you might want to do this is, let's say you want to be able to just kind of clean up their portal and have clients focus on just one stage at a time, even after they've completed the previous one. Something you might want to do is set up an automation. So in this example, the client has completed all of the tasks in onboarding. I just want to move that stage out of the way so they can't see it anymore. The archive option is really great for that. Archiving can also be helpful if you want to, because it's archive/hide. If you want to have a sort of just hidden stage in your projects that only your team has access to, maybe you just have some information in the various tasks. Maybe they're things that the team has already completed, but you want to reference again in the future. That's another reason why you might want to archive a stage. For the archive task option, For that one, it's kind of a similar use case, but typically I would recommend if you're thinking about archiving a task, just set it as a team task if it's something that is like internal facing, and don't show it in the portal, which is actually the default setting for tasks in Motion.io. So, Tamara, hopefully that answers your question about archiving. Let me know. Happy to follow up with any additional information. But those are some of the general use cases. So back in my template, just to kind of give you a refresher so we can jump back in, I've set up these automations that I want to go ahead and test. What is actually pretty cool for me is that when doing these live streams, even the one that I did last week, or this might have been 2 weeks ago, I had someone in the chat asking like, hey, you've set up these automations, but can we see what they look like? One of the hard things was I really didn't have a great way to do that real time on these streams. I had to, because if I wanted to like trigger the automations, I would have to sort of toggle back and forth between a client. But now with AI clients, I can go ahead and show you this in just a couple of seconds, which is really cool. And I think illustrates how, it's a different use case where if you're testing things in your own business, but illustrates a similar benefit and the value of this new functionality in that I'm able to test automations live here in a couple of minutes for you. You can do the same in your own account. So let's go ahead. We'll create a new template because I have modified this digital advertising template with those new automations. And I'll just call this testing. Create it. And then just like before, we'll go in here and we'll add our AI client. What's nice is that when you configure the settings for your simulated client, this is automatically going to carry over to new projects. So I don't have to reconfigure this. But one thing that I did find is actually my AI client on the last project was a little bit too non-tech savvy, asking a little bit too many questions that wasn't reflective of the folks that I work with. So I'm actually going to slide this. I'm going to shift this slider up to more on the very savvy side, and we can see the kind of the responses here. So we'll go ahead and add them, assign them to all of the tasks, and jump back into the tasks page. What's really cool here is that now that I've set up all of those automations, I don't actually have to send these tasks anymore, because as a reminder, I set up this automation that activates the first stage when my project is created. So my AI client has immediately started to go in here and complete my tasks just as they did before. So let's go ahead and refresh this here quick. The AI did have, and this time, Professor Roy Lutkin did have a question about a couple of things here. I'm not going to respond to them for now. I'm just going to submit this because my primary purpose of using the AI client in this case is just to test that my automations are working. So I'll just complete all of those on behalf of the AI client. And now I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick refresh. And what we'll see is great. As expected, my design campaign creative task was automatically activated via that automation we set up. And like I mentioned earlier, because this is a team task, I do have to complete this in order for the AI client to move on to the next step, which is triggered automatically, but the trigger for that is this campaign creative task being completed. So I'll complete that. And then once again, just as expected, my feedback on the creative task was activated. So that's really a great overview of another way that you can use this functionality. The process could not be simpler for adding AI clients. All you got to do for just the sort of 15-second workflow, create a new project, add a user, select AI client, and then make sure you've assigned them and sent them tasks to complete. And you'll be able to see insights and improvements that you can make to your workflow in real time. And an example of the things that you might want to do here is like in my test project that I just showed you, I noticed that this task actually stalled out because I don't have an automation for it. But I wouldn't know that until I got to this point. So for this example, I'm like, oh, okay, because I'm not automatically activating this task to implement the client's feedback, this might take a couple of days for me to realize. It might become a bottleneck in my process. And instead of having to realize that in days, weeks, or months of a client going through this flow, I was able to realize it in 5 minutes or less that I need an automation here. So I can go back and make that change in my template. So that really does it for the overview of the features that we have released over this past week. I will hang out for a couple more minutes if there's any other questions folks watching have about motion.io. It could be anything, contracts, automations, integrations. I'll hang out for another minute, see if any questions come in. But I do want to let you all know, I do have another cool YouTube video that should be released just shortly after this live stream ends today. And this video is specifically about an integration between motion.io and Go High Level. So I know we have a lot of customers using us that also use Go High Level as their CRM. And later today, probably about an hour from now, I'll be releasing a YouTube video that explains how you can integrate Go High Level with motion.io in just about 3 minutes. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Facebook, LinkedIn page, wherever you kind of tune in on social media, and you'll see updates there about that video. And then as a final reminder, if you ever need help or assistance with motion.io, feel free to email us at any time. We can always be reached at hello@motion.io. With that, everybody, since I haven't had any additional questions come in, I'm going to call it quits for today. But as a reminder, we do these live streams every single Friday, 10:30 Mountain Time, and would love to have you tune in again next week. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend and a great rest of your Friday. Bye-bye.